Okay, so now that we kind of have an idea of how much rock you need to mine to get a profitable amount of copper, let's talk about how much copper you need for something that you deal with daily. So something that I like to think about is a car, because a car has just a ton of minerals in it that are used for various things: copper, steel, quartz for the glass, aluminum, all types of ore materials, and it's a very common thing, of course. So can you guys guess at how many pounds of copper do you think are in an average car? And I know that cars vary from the Titan Explorers down to the Fiats and the smart cars, but on average, there is an average out there. Can you imagine, what would your guess be? The amount of pounds of copper?
5 pounds.
5 pounds. John?
I'm gonna guess 20.
20. Rick? Behind the camera?
About 100.
100. And the actual answer is 55. So there are 55 pounds of copper average in a car. How many then pounds of rock does it take to get 55 pounds of copper? The way you would do that is 55 divided by 0.006. 9,166 pounds. So to make one car, to give us 55 pounds of copper, it means that almost 5 tons, a little less than 4.5 tons of rock needs to be removed from the ground, processed, and then almost all of that discarded. So instead of doing that, instead of taking it all out of the ground, let's recycle. Let's use copper that we find in old houses and anywhere else. There's a vast economy actually that works on recycling, especially of copper, and take it to a yard, a scrap yard, where it can be recycled. Even though aluminum is probably the most famous recyclable material, it's certainly not the one that yields the most money for recyclables, and it's certainly not the one that is easiest to recycle. Aluminum is recycled most because it's less expensive to recycle it than it is to pull it up out of the ground and make it into aluminum. Copper, on the other hand, is not, even though it takes a lot more of it. So everything's, of course, driven by money. So you guys at home, hopefully this impresses upon you how important it is to recycle and the amount of disturbance it creates in getting raw materials out of the ground. In the next video, we're going to talk about how we come up with the amount of ore material from an ore mineral that's a little more complicated than pennium.